You are listening to Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuck. And I'm Alanna.
I'm Kelsey.
And you all are the cryptic cuties. Welcome. Or welcome back. If you've been here before, then
Yeah.
you know who you are. And we love you. And if you're new, we love you too. Maybe you
Yes.
had a gateway cryptic cutie that turned you on to the show, and I will thank them for recommending it. Um, we hope you're all recommending it. If not, go tell a friend right now and then fucking rate
Yeah.
us.
I had looked on Good Pods and we are on some awesome lists for Good Pods of different ratings and rankings and
Ooh.
had almost 500 reviews and we're still at a solid 5-star rating at almost 500 star ratings. So I was like, "Oh, nice. I like that."
Oh, it gives you like an overall count?
It did when I just searched our show on it and looked like our main page.
Right. Mine will
Yeah.
look a little different because I'm the one that's on good, like made the profile on Good Pods, and then I was like, "This is my podcast," and like
Yeah.
we can, like you can say there's two creators. I don't know why. We haven't added you for whatever reason. I'm just on Good Pods a lot. I don't know.
No.
And then yeah, I think we just got added because we have such cool friends in the Darkcast network. Heyo. You can make curated lists now on there. So
Okay.
I think the Darkcast network coordinators were like, I'm gonna make one where I can add, or was it? Okay, I'll have to look again because one of the podcasts, possibly Fuck That Pod, was true crime, was like, oh, I've started adding us on all the lists there because you can be like, oh, these are my favorite podcasts, and why wouldn't you add the ones that you listen to, the ones that are in your,
Yeah.
network of friends? Like we all love each other's shows. So yeah, I love seeing us pop up in little lists, and we'll probably see it happen more, which is awesome.
Yeah, we were on good rankings even on the ones that weren't indie ones. It was
Oh
regular true
yeah.
crime ones. I think we were within the top 20 of just regular true crime for the month or something. And
That feels good to
yeah.
be top 20 of something.
Yeah, it was like, that's cool. That's like all of true crime. Like,
Yeah, and for the indie part, we've definitely been in the top 10. I think we've been top
what?
5 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been um thank you to everyone who's rated us there. We have
Yeah.
a few consistent raters that I've noticed besides my brother Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. Uh, but also, who also always listens on Good Pods? Jeremy from the Neatcast. I like the Neatcast. They uh, do talk about sports and stuff, but they also talk about fun news and cryptids. So they got some really cool stuff.
Nice.
So yeah, he always rates us. And then yeah, Daniel and Jeremy always does. And then there's another podcaster. His name's Keb. He does one that I listen to called the Stupid History Minute. It's literally,
Oh,
I think I might have mentioned it on here before because on Good Pods it'll give you the option to review once you're within like a couple minutes of ending the episode. And since his are so short, it pops up like right away as you start listening to it. It's like, this episode's over. You're like, yeah, okay.
it
But it's fun.
hasn't begun, but it's over.
It's short little, yeah, history bits, which I like those. And actually, we'll probably feature, there's a promo for one of the people in our network that's called the Strange History Podcast that we could include a promo from. So we could put,
Nice.
yeah, in the in the intermission, you guys will hear a promo from the Strange History Podcast, who I got some fun facts from this week, actually, if you want to hear them.
Oh, yes, of course.
How's that for a segue? um, I've been checking out the Darkcast Network shows, making my way through them slowly. And then I was listening to the Strange History podcast today, and they were quick little ones, and one was talking about um color question mark for some reason. I just remembered the fun fact. I remember the fun fact now, not the context of
Okay.
the whole which episode it was, but uh she said that red is the first color that we see as babies, like after we see black and white. I was like, okay, cool.
Oh.
Or like it's the first one you normally perceive if you've been colorblind for a while, and then you start to see colors other than black and white again. Or
Wow.
like you've had something that's rendered you colorblind, or there's a medical issue. Apparently, red's one of the first colors that we can perceive again, which I was like, did not know that. Just love a random
Yeah.
fun fact that you can throw out when you meet someone at a party. And I don't know. There was also she was doing the history of can openers, and they're like, well, they were invented 60 years before. Oh, the cans, the history of canned foods, and it's like, well, the cans
Oh.
were invented like 60 years before the can openers, which is just like, that was great. They were so thick, they were just basically like, take a chisel. This is your instructions. Take a chisel and take a
Oh
hammer
my god.
and make your way into it. But literally, canned food can last for so long that I was like, yeah, that's pretty fascinating. Like, we came up with this shit.
Yeah,
Anyway,
because there's ones that they did there's the little tab you would kind of pull away, and then it had like a little key. You would put that in, and then you would like twist it
yes.
around. They probably had, I think they had those before they had like separate can openers that you could buy. Gordo?
Oh, I could see that too. Yeah.
Gordo's trying to attack the Mothman that's on the wall. Leave my Mothman patch alone.
It's not a real Mothman.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you do get those little keys on some of the like spam type meats and stuff.
Yeah.
You'll still get them because I'm like I'm like,
Yeah.
these are kind of weird. I hope I don't cut myself on this metal.
Right? It's concerning. You're just twisting it, and then you're just like, oh my god, Gordo. Stop being disruptive. Lay down, please.
Lay down if you're not going to be on camera giving us the money shot, Gordo. Actually, my
God.
supervisor though, he even cut his like the pad below his thumb. You know,
Oh.
it was his thumb area, and he was opening a can of tuna. And I feel like this was at like Christmas time, but like he was incapacitated on that hand for months. Like they
Oh.
were checking it out to be like, okay, well, you should be getting some feeling back now, and like, you know what I mean? Because there's just like so many nerves in your hands.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. He probably like severed something.
yeah, yeah. It's
Jeez.
mostly I think healed now, but it's made me very paranoid. I'm like, I said to Nate, every time I open a tuna can of tuna, I'm like thinking of you and just being extra careful now.
You're like putting on the oven mitts and like.
It's hard to find a
Oh,
good can opener too. So like,
it's
oh
hard.
man, ours was working good, and now I'm like having to really wrench on it. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah. My mom had a good one that was like 25 years old, and then she got,
Passed down through the generations.
yeah, basically, she just decided she wanted to buy a new one. She bought a new one and it never really worked. So she returned it and just went back to using the really old one because it's never not worked. So,
I mean, yeah. What's worse than a can you can't open?
yeah, when it just like mangles the top of it, it's not actually cutting through anything. And you're like, well, now it's just so destroyed. I can't even open it.
I don't know what if that's worse, or like say you're starving out in the woods, or like you have a wine bottle and you have no cork, you have no opener, you have no way to like you're so thirsty, you're like dying of thirst, you're starving, you have a can, you have a wine bottle, you're like, well, does someone have a sword? And
Right?
I'm gonna try
Oh,
this. uh Good old hacks. Actually, did I tell you I
Yeah.
heard something the other day that people were put like, "Oh, I have a hack. You put this ice cream in your pop, like your root beer or like your Coke or whatever." Amazing.
What the
Life hack. Did I tell
is
you
it called?
this?
No, is
I
that
don't
not
know if
just
it's
a root beer
real.
float?
Well, maybe
It's
they're just yeah, pranking people on TikTok or whatever. I've heard this like secondhand. I haven't even seen these videos. I just like
God.
hearing people talk about it. It's like, okay, that can't be real. Or oh, I think another one was like, oh yeah, they should just have a phone that like sits in the house all the time so that if someone's at home, there's always a phone there. Like
Oh, I've heard shit like that where people don't, and then they're like, "Wait, did
really?
I just reinvent the home phone?" You're like, "What did
Oh,
I
and they
even
like they
do?"
don't realize
Yeah,
that that's what they're saying. I could see that, I
yeah,
guess.
because they've just like forgotten that that used to be a thing or that is already a thing.
Right. Somebody's just
Yeah.
really high one night. They're like, "Hey man."
Hey man, they should invent socks for your hands. Yeah, they're called gloves. Like, you're like, oh.
Freaking that 70s show, and every time he gets high, it's always, "Hey guys, there's a car that runs on water." I'm sad because he's canceled now because he turned out to be a creep Scientologist. But
Yeah.
anyway, I won't tangent on that. Let's get it. Why don't we dive into your dragons? I'm
Yeah.
excited.
That's what we all came for, right?
It's true.
I have had
I'm
this
gonna
on
time.
my list
Sorry.
of
Yeah.
like one of the episode topics I wanted to talk about. Basically since we started, and especially the first time we did any sort of like cryptids or animals or like mythology. I was just like, I want to talk about dragons. It
That's
needs
true.
to
It's like
happen.
such a classic, almost OG cryptid that
Yeah.
has the most relevance of almost evidence of being a real thing that there's so many writings about it all around the world and drawings and stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
and we're
Uh
castles and cryptids. What other
yeah.
cryptids would want to hang out in a castle but a dragon?
Yeah, it's dragons,
it's
right?
it's classic.
Yeah. And there's just so many, I guess, different variations in different countries around the world. They all have different takes on dragons and things like that. So I thought it'd be a fun
Yeah.
episode to do. And I wanted to focus basically on like the Chinese dragons, and um, that's what most of my stuff is. Some of it's just like
Oh.
Asian countries, but for the most part, it's like specifically Chinese dragons and their um, what it is in like Chinese culture.
Ooh, hell yeah. This is like
Yeah,
very overdue, actually.
yeah. So I don't have a
Lay it
lot
on me.
for. I don't have like stories or sightings and stuff like that. I have like
Eh.
um stuff they have in their culture and like how they celebrate dragons and that aspect of it.
Oh, yeah. They
Yeah,
do
because
a
they have a
lot.
lot. They have a lot of beliefs surrounding dragons. So,
Right. True,
yeah.
true. I don't know much about
Um
it though, honestly.
yeah, I knew a little bit, but I definitely learned a lot in this, and I had to cut out a lot of stuff and then I cut out even more stuff. So,
Oh,
most
yeah.
likely I'm going to have to record. It'll probably be at least another half an hour or so for a patron episode, as a kind of bonus because I had to cut out
Ooh.
almost 3 pages of my notes after. Uh,
It's probably all the juicy stuff too. No.
so, yeah, join Patreon so you can hear my whole
Damn.
segment. But yeah,
This will be available at every level, by the way.
yes, even just what, $2, $2 a month
$2
is,
a month and up, baby.
yeah,
2 Canadian loonies.
yeah.
That is what we call
Uh,
them. I thought I was gonna make up some word because sometimes people will be like, 2 maple leaves? Like American.
oh, God.
And then I was like, actually, that's what we call them. We call them loonies. Those are our Dollar coins.
Didn't
What?
we
What of
talk
it?
about
Come at us.
Oh, I told somebody at work about the the misconception that Canadians say that's jokes or whatever. We've talked about this a couple
I have
times.
heard this, yes.
Yeah,
I've
we were
heard that we
talking about
say
that.
this, but I've never heard a Canadian say that's jokes instead of that's funny
Yeah,
or
we were having a good laugh at it at
mhm.
work about how that's not a thing. Yeah,
I do. It
it
is
was
kind of
really
fun. It is kind of entertaining when you're listening to a podcast and you'll be like, and up in Canada they call it this, and then you're like, oh.
Do we?
So, sometimes you're like, do we?
Or the
It's yeah, I
one
know.
you were
Take
saying
everything
something
with
about
a grain of
like
salt.
two maples or two leaves or whatever. Just made me
Yeah.
think of when you said because we call it a toonie for because
Yes.
it's $2 and we call the
$2
one a
coin.
one
Yep.
and we call the one a oney and I was like what the fuck nobody's ever called it a oney like
Yes, there was a
and we
thing
talk
I heard on Sinisterhood where they felt bad because they were I think they said it wrong or didn't know that loonies or toonies were a thing, and then they were like, we got
yeah
a lot of feedback from like our Canadian fans, but they was like very polite. You know, I'm like, oh
well
yeah, you're fine. It's not a big
yeah
deal.
in the US didn't they have that until they like went to bills for it instead or something there was something like
No, they should be following us. We like coins
yeah
make more sense for the $1 and $2 to me. You want to
yeah
have like 3 bills in your pocket, and then you feel like you're rich, and then you're like, oh, I have $3. That's what I hate when I go to America.
Yeah. Like if I feel a bill, I'll be like, it's at least $5.
Exactly. And then you're not like drunk in a cab, like, I thought I gave him a one, but it was a 10 or 100. A Modern
Yeah.
Family, they give Lily accidentally $100 bill because the tooth fairy was in the dark and
Oh,
he had had 2 glasses
yeah.
of champagne or, Chardonnay or whatever.
And the one was out of focus. It was 100.
And Lily's like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell all my friends at school. And they're like, oh no. Because all your money's the
Yeah.
same color. Anywho.
Yes, I hate it. I hate it. Everybody makes fun of our rainbow money, but I love rainbows, so
Most money is different colors,
yeah,
honestly. Around the
at least
world. Come on,
slightly.
guys. Tell
Yeah,
us
it
what
makes
color
me
your money
nuts.
is.
Yeah.
I love it when
Um,
I see Canadian money on TV. I'm like, oh, holla. When you like
show
never
me the
see it.
plastic. Show me the
Yeah.
plastic money.
I can recognize
Looks like
euros now too from selling foreign currency at my work.
mm,
I'm like,
but
ooh. Right.
so for this one, I had a little quote to start.
Ooh, that's
This
fun.
is from Chinese scholar Liu Dian. I didn't look that up. This is from a long time ago. It says 1042 to 1102 AD. So like he lived a really long time ago.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure
Yeah.
for a minute if you meant that because you had written your notes a long time ago. Because
No.
you've been away for a couple days. Well, you said this is from a
Oh
long time
no.
ago.
No, he's from a long time ago because he's a scholar. Uh, and it was, quote, none of the animals is so wise as the dragon. His blessing power is not a false one. He can be smaller than small, bigger than big, higher than high, and lower than low. End quote. I was like,
Wow.
that's kind of cool. Yeah.
I want to be higher than high. All right.
So the significance of dragons in Chinese culture ended up spilling over to many other Asian countries as well. And which we'll kind of get into. I have a little on like East Asia and everything.
Oh.
So Chinese dragons differ from European dragons that end up like European dragons are typically depicted as fire breathing creature. They can be pretty aggressive, like they're attacking, like dragons are attacking or stuff like
Game of
that.
Thrones season
Yeah.
8.
Yeah.
Burn the
Uh
motherfucker down.
yeah. Whereas the Chinese dragon is more of a spiritual creature and it fosters like harmony and is pretty
Oh.
peaceful for the most part.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And they're typically not fire breathing at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think I have it anymore because I had to cut out quite a bit, but I think it
Excuse me.
in one of the places it said that they have a legend that all the fire breathing dragons were like banished and stuff. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So they were there at one time, maybe.
Yeah, and they were all banished.
Wow.
Uh, so in
Smart.
East Asia, yeah, East Asia, dragons have, they said, sweeping powers. So, like, they breathe clouds, they move the seasons, and can control the weather. They also are known to control rivers, lakes, and the seas.
Okay, so like all water.
Yeah, there's a
Whether it's
lot of
raining
water.
from the clouds. Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, because they're
they
usually
control.
typically associated with fire. Like so.
Yeah, in Asia, it seems like it's a lot to do with water control that they have, because
Wow.
that keeps coming up. They also symbolize power, strength, and good luck. They're linked with yang, like yin and yang. So, yang is the masculine principle of heat, light, and action, while yin
Okay.
is the feminine principle of coolness, darkness, and repose.
Ooh.
So, yeah,
Okay,
so
all right.
they're linked with yang. There's a
Interesting.
different creature I mentioned briefly that's probably more to do with yang, but in Eastern culture,
Okay.
or Eastern Asian culture, dragons have been talked about for more than 4,000 years. And they have been
Wow.
found or written about in everything from like statues and flags. They're often carved as amulets and uh, carved onto like armor and stuff that people wear into battle.
Oh yeah. Make you
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah. They're honored as sources of power and bringers of rain in Buddhism, Confucianism, and Taoism,
Oh.
which is
Confucius
cool.
say. Yes, I've heard
Yeah.
I've heard of him. Some philosopher or
And
whatever. Bringers of rain. I like that.
yeah, some more of the water again.
I'm a water sign, so like I'm into this. And also Chinese astrology, which maybe you'll get to. Yeah.
A little bit, briefly.
Okay. Well, I'm a dragon there too.
Yeah. So specifically in China, dragons are very important to the culture, and the Chinese dragon is also known as the Long,
Oh,
Loong, or Long, Long, or Long, like your lungs.
okay.
Um, there's a bunch of other names too, which I'll save for the other episode probably. It said that some linguist had isolated over 100 different specific like Chinese dragon names, and each of them like represent something different. And I had a list of like 25 of them, of like very specific, like this one looks like this and it does this, and like this is its name. So it was a lot.
Really
Yeah.
interesting.
Um so yeah, this Michael Carr is the one. He analyzed over 100 ancient dragon names that are attested to in Chinese classic texts, referring to like
Okay.
literature and myths that talk about many famous dragons, besides the most famous being the Long Dragon. Uh,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Um, Going in, some of these were just, oh, this is mostly about what they look like typically. Because with there being so many different dragons, they all kind of look a little bit different. Um, so for this was all from Wikipedia. The Han Dynasty scholar Wang Fu recorded Chinese myths that long dragons had 9 anatomical resemblances. It didn't say what they were,
Oh.
unless it was this, that because this was the next paragraph from that, so maybe that's what this is supposed to be, but it's not like written like it's a quote or excerpt from something, so didn't really
Okay.
make sense. It said the people paint the dragon's shape with a horse's head and a snake's tail. Further,
Oh.
there are expressions as 3 joints and 9 resemblances of the dragon, to wit. So from head to shoulder, from shoulder to breast, and breast to tail. So those are like the 3 sections. And then these are the joints. As to the 9 resemblances, they are the following: his antlers resemble those of a stag, his head that of a camel, his eyes those of a demon, his neck that of
Oh.
a snake. Yeah, just got those demon eyes.
Yeah.
Um, his neck that of a snake, his belly that of a clam. It got a clam belly. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, never heard that
Really
before.
hard to picture this now.
Yeah. His scales, those of a carp, his claws, those of an eagle, his soles, like his feet, those of a
Wait.
tiger, and
Oh, okay.
his ears, those of a cow. He's got cow ears.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what.
It's the ultimate jackalope cryptid of things
Yeah, just
mashed together.
hodgepodge.
Yeah, I've never seen this. You always just see the very like
The long,
serpentine
and
snake-like
that's the
depiction of
long.
Chinese
That's the
dragons.
long. Um,
Ah, which makes now the
yeah,
name kind of makes sense.
right? Yeah.
Kind of does. They're very long.
And it's the most common one. So upon his head, it said he has a thing like a broad eminence, which it says in quotes, a big lump,
Oh.
uh, called a kaimu or chimu maybe.
Oh.
And if a dragon has no kaimu, he cannot ascend to the sky. So like they can't, some of them can't fly.
Oh, so that's why they look so wavy because they have to have a hump like a camel.
Yeah, like on their head though, specifically, it has to be broad eminence, a big
Oh,
lump called a kaimu on
right.
their head. And if they don't have that,
Okay.
then they aren't one that goes into the sky.
Oh, right, right. Not
Um,
the hump of their like body.
no, but these are all like very, very old, like kind of things
Interesting.
that they had written up like extremely old, like thousands of years ago.
That's
Um,
so crazy. Because like
and
it was
then
not easy to write things back then. So it had to be
yeah,
important if you were gonna like inscribe it into stone. It's obviously important, yet people are always like, oh, let's just dismiss this thing. Oh, it must be an angel. It's like it looks like it's wearing a space helmet, or it looks like a dragon.
yeah. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
a lot of these were probably just written in scrolls and stuff, like all these ancient scrolls, which I always think are so beautiful. I love that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, but it's still like
From Asia.
super valuable, like the parchment and
Yeah,
stuff. Like you didn't just like write something down just to like send someone a random text, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
It has a different one from Wikipedia saying further sources give some different lists. Sinologist Henry Dorr, who I think it says
Sinologist.
FR. Yeah,
Oh.
sinologist.
I don't even know what that is.
I think he's French because it says FR beside his name. So maybe he's French. Um
Okay. Okay. I have no idea.
he listed these characteristics as an authentic dragon. Quote, the antlers of a deer, the head of a crocodile, a demon's eyes, the neck of a snake. I
Okay.
hate I hate this. A tortoise's viscera. I hate the word viscera. I'm like, what the fuck? So he has a
Ew. Yeah,
tortoise's
I
viscera.
don't.
Don't love it.
Yeah, isn't that like
Um,
your goo, your eye goo and
yeah,
stuff?
like well, it's like your organs, your viscera is like all your organs and stuff. Like it's
It's
just
far too
everything that's
liquid for me
internal.
to think about in
Yeah.
terms of my body, whatever
But I
it
was like,
is.
a tortoise's? Like, what does that even mean?
I know,
Anyways,
so far it had made sense. Like the
yeah,
demon's eyes, okay, glowing eyes, whatever.
yeah,
It makes somewhat sense, but then it's like, wait, hard left.
yeah. Has a hawk's claws, the palms of a tiger, a cow's ears, and it hears through its horns. Its ears being deprived of all power of hearing.
Oh,
It says he notes that, quote, others state it has rabbit's eyes, a frog's belly, and a carp's scales, end quote. So there's like some variations,
rabbit's
but
eyes. Okay.
yeah, it all seems to be like a mishmash of other animals.
Yeah. Weird.
Ooh, excuse me. Uh, Another description of it, also from Wikipedia, said in many other countries, folk tales speak of the dragon having all the attributes of the other 11 creatures of the zodiac. This includes the whiskers of the rat, the face and
Oh.
horns of the ox, the claws and teeth of the tiger, the belly of the rabbit, the body of the snake, the legs of the horse, the goatee of the goat, which I see that. They have like that's quite
Yeah.
common.
Yeah,
Uh
me
the
too.
the wit of the monkey, the crest of the rooster, the
Oh.
ears of the dog, and the snout of the pig, which sounds pretty cute. But
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, because like you could make a case for all of that. And I'm like, okay, snout, yeah.
yeah, I definitely see like the goatee of the goat, like that's on a lot
Yeah.
of them. It has that.
True. Yeah,
I
yeah.
just never
You
really thought of it being a goatee on a dragon before, but
haven't given much thought to dragon facial hair. Yeah.
yeah. So Chinese dragons were considered to be physically concise. This was also a little different. Um, it said
Oh.
of the 117 scales, 81 of them are of the yang essence, positive, while 36 are of the yin essence, which are negative.
Wow.
Um,
Specific.
yeah, initially the dragon was benevolent, wise, and just, but the Buddhists introduced the concept of malevolent influence among some dragons, where this was kind of their reasoning for that, saying just as water destroys, they said, so can some dragons destroy via floods, tidal waves, and storms. And they suggested that some of the worst floods were believed to have been the result of a mortal who upset a dragon. Like, so the dragon caused a
Oh.
flood. Again, the whole water like analogy.
Yeah, I like that. Because
Yeah.
yeah, it's water, it's just water. It doesn't have its own purpose. In that sense, it's neutral.
Yeah. It's just if
But
it has gravity like sloping it down, it's gonna go down.
yeah,
Like,
it can't help itself.
yeah.
Hmm.
Many pictures of Chinese dragons. Oh, these were just little. Some of these are just little snippets. I just didn't know where to put anywhere else. This was a few of them. Many pictures of Chinese dragons show a flaming pearl under its chin or in their claws, like how they are always.
Hmm.
You see that quite often, like a pearl they're holding.
Yeah.
It said the pearl is associated with spiritual energy, wisdom, prosperity, power, immortality, thunder, or the moon. And
Okay.
yeah,
Looks
it's
like the
pretty
moon.
cool. Yeah, you can see that one.
Yeah, I think I have a picture of
Chinese
that in the demon or not demonology. There's a book.
dragonology.
Yes, we have a couple
Yeah,
copies of Dragonology in our house. Most of them
yeah,
bought for our kid, but it's very pretty, and they have a Chinese
yeah.
looking dragon holding a pearl, and he's got
I
like
had one of
very
those, and
pretty
I had
colors.
I
Yeah.
had Egyptology and everything too. I liked those books.
Ooh. Oh, love that
Um,
kind of stuff. Yeah.
yeah. Chinese art often depicts a pair of dragons chasing or fighting over the flaming pearl.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. From Wikipedia, or my last little thing from Wikipedia for this just said, or this part said, in some circles it is considered bad luck to depict a dragon facing downwards, as it is seen as disrespectful to place a dragon in such matter that it cannot ascend to the sky.
Oh,
Which I didn't hear that anywhere else, so I have nothing to back that up, but found that kind of interesting. Like, you don't want to depict it facing
yeah.
downward because it should be going up to the sky, which was
Now
kind
I'm
of
gonna be
cool.
looking at the little dragon figurines Rain made me buy that
Yeah,
are on a shelf behind me. Yeah. Like most of their heads are usually kind of pointed up, I would have to say.
Okay. At least not directly looking down, probably.
No, no. They don't look, like shy little wallflowers looking at their shoes.
So another little thing. Um, yeah, these were kind of different things about dragons and their beliefs during the different dynasties. Uh,
Oh,
there was a lot more. It was kind of insane to try and read, but
probably.
yeah. These were a few of them. The founder of the Han Dynasty, uh, Liu Bang, claimed to be conceived after his mother dreamt of a dragon. And
Oh, cool.
yeah, during the Han Dynasty, the winged Ying Long was the most common dragon depiction and was part of an ancient Chinese legend. Didn't really dig into
Okay.
that because there was already too much, but the Ying Long is um I think how it worked was the long is doesn't have wings, but the Ying Long does.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, there's it depends kind of what dynasty you're in, what's the most common depiction, and it kind of like rotates and evolves over time.
Right. It doesn't seem like they have huge wings in comparison to other dragons anyway.
No, not from
Right.
around the world. Not the huge wingspan or anything like that.
Right, because like you said, they seem more like water-based. Or I don't know.
Yeah, or
This
like
is me
serpent, like
guessing.
snakes and
Exactly,
stuff.
yeah. Like an eel, yeah.
Yeah. During the Tang Dynasty, emperors wore robes with dragon designs as part of an imperial symbol. And during the Tang and Song dynasties, there was no longer the Yinglong like winged dragons. It had been replaced with the wingless yellow dragon that is still extremely common today. So when you see
Oh.
like the yellow dragon on anything, that's when this came about during the Tang and Song dynasties.
Hmm.
And during the Yuan dynasty, a two-horned and five-clawed dragon was designed for use by the emperor only, while a slightly different design that was four-clawed dragon could be worn by princes and nobles. They
Okay.
yeah, it kind of went down that like it yeah, they said like the more the better, but it kind of went down in number based on like your societal status on what you were allowed to wear. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And like some places people wore them and you had to like cover them up so people couldn't tell like how many even sometimes how many dragons you had on something that was a pattern. You weren't allowed to display that many dragons if you weren't of a certain
Oh,
level, so
oh
people
no.
wear stuff over their clothing, like the back of it, so that you could only see a certain number of dragons. It was a lot to get into for just talking about wardrobe, but
Yeah, holy shit.
uh
I'm already
and then
overwhelmed. No.
yeah, that's why I cut a lot of that kind of stuff out. Um
Oh,
Also
interesting, like
during
rabbit holes, I suppose, to fall down
right,
into.
there was
I could
so much.
definitely be like, wait, what? And what?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh Also during the Yan Dynasty, it said that they dragons had many animal-like forms, so I think they meant that they could shapeshift and take on other appearances like that of a turtle, a fish, but most appeared snake-like and that they had four legs at that time. So that's also a pretty common depiction of dragons having four legs.
Okay. Because I was gonna say they
Yeah.
don't have to shapeshift to look like that, do they? Isn't that just what they look like? Like snake-like with four legs?
I
Or
think
yeah.
so, but that's just how they had the sentence written. It was like really
Okay.
confusing. Yeah. Uh oh, okay, this is where it was. Well, dragons represent a more male entity. Their counterpart is the Fang Huang, I'm gonna say, which
Ooh.
in Chinese symbology is the more feminine entity. And
Oh,
actually,
okay.
at this time, so in the different dynasties and everything, the males were like the dragons, like they were dragons. So this is what like the empress of China, the patterns she would wear or be associated with her are depicted as a phoenix like bird. So the males are the dragon, the women are
Ooh.
like phoenixes, which is really cool. I love phoenixes.
Yeah.
Um
Sounds hot.
yeah, and together they're the metaphor of for a balanced and blissful relationship, and they're symbolic of a happy marriage and a regent's long reign, which is cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you random interjection? You remember the costumes in the Shadow and Bone after like in I don't know what the kingdom that the Starkov girl goes to, and then she starts kind of dressing like the other people with the collars, and then they
oh,
have like
yeah.
I don't know. I
Um,
feel like they have some embroidery across the front. I'm like, I am never gonna describe this well, but it,
it's little something. I can't remember.
it all reminded me of a
Little chapel or something.
okay, a book series I read, and she like buys this really fantastic. It's kind of like a fantasy series, like not really set in this world or whatever. But remember, she had ends up buying this like amazing black dress that has like this golden dragon down the back of it and stuff like that. And then when you're just talking about
Oh, cool.
wardrobe, I was like, oh my
Yeah,
god,
like
like
just insane embroidery and
they're just
everything.
beautiful aesthetically.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just the especially the the ones you're talking about, the Chinese kind of ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
so cool.
Um oh, these are kind of more just little things I didn't know where else to put.
Nice.
Um because there was
Tidbits.
just so much. It was crazy. It's like how
Yeah.
much am I reading right now? Like this is insane.
Yeah, just put in the fun stuff. Who cares? It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
super organized.
Uh, so the first one was saying that academics have identified four fairly reliable theories as to the origin of the Chinese dragon. I don't have
Okay.
any sort of elaboration on these, but the first one is snakes. Uh,
Snakes on a
this
plane.
the second one just says Chinese alligators. So I don't know if they're different than other alligators. It
Literally, there.
specified
You mean like there's
Chinese
no
alligator.
elaboration? It's just like Chinese
No,
alligators.
it said these four: snakes, Chinese alligators, thunder, and nature worship. That's all it said.
Oh,
And then the next sentence, the
okay.
same little blurb just said traditionally they symbolize potent and auspicious powers such as the control of water, rainfall, typhoons, and floods. Like
All right, all right.
maybe, but like they
Okay.
were hyperlinked like in each of those things, but it didn't take you to something specifically, so it just said snakes and it just took you to like the snake Wikipedia page, not like something about talking about the origin
Yeah.
of snakes.
I
Same
mean,
with, yeah,
we'll
or like,
invite people to ask us if they want us to extrapolate, I guess,
yeah,
because I'm sure we could maybe try and look into it more. But
it'd be
yeah,
like a
sometimes,
rabbit hole after rabbit hole if you like kind
right?
of difficult, yeah.
This is what happens to me too, when you're like researching something interesting, and then it branches off, and then that
Yeah,
branches off, and then before you know it, you're on some
like
twig. And you're like, what was
like
the original
you're
topic?
15
No.
Wikipedia pages deep and you're just like, where did I come from?
Yeah.
How did I get here?
Where do I go?
The next one is just said that one of China's most popular teas is a fairly subtle tea, like not a overpowering flavor.
Subtlety.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And it's called Long Jin or Dragon Well, and it was
Dragon well.
named, yeah. Um, so Jin must be Jin. G. Jing, I guess. Long Jing. Jing must be the word for well then, because long is dragon. So Long Jing.
Oh, okay.
Uh, and it was actually named after the growing region near Hangzhou. And it said that centuries ago, people believed that a rain bringing dragon lived in the area.
Ooh,
That
cool.
area at the bottom of a clear running spring. There's lots of stuff about like people like praying or like doing stuff to entice dragons to like bring the rain because they're in a drought and things like that.
That totally
Uh
makes sense. I mean,
yeah.
same way I believe it's like Native Americans and stuff here that have rain dances and stuff.
Yeah.
What would I know? I know there's a Chili Pepper song called Rain Dance Maggie, but pretty sure I'm not going to get accurate information from that.
Yeah.
But they're my favorite
Uh
band, so don't come after them.
in ancient China, this I thought was just kind of cool, but
Yeah.
it stuck out because my sister-in-law loves dinosaurs. So this I thought was kind of
Okay.
cool. That in ancient China, any dinosaur bones that were discovered were actually documented as dragon bones. So in like ancient China, they would list anything that they found that was a
No
dinosaur as
way.
a dragon. And this practice still continues today as dinosaur bones are used in um some dinosaur bones are used in like traditional medicines. So sometimes they'll still be labeled as like dragon bones and things like that.
Oh.
Uh
Yeah. Like in a witchy spell where you need
yeah.
Bone of Dragon and Eye of Newt.
Yeah.
That's how you get it.
The
Wow.
the modern Chinese term for dinosaur is written Konglong, which means terror dragon, and that's like the modern
Oh.
word for dinosaur. And
Nice.
the scientific name of one species of dinosaur that was discovered in China is Meilong, Meilong meaning sleeping dragon.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Uh, Oh, and then a little bit from Wikipedia said fossilized remains of Mei Lung have been found in China in a sleeping and coiled form, with the dinosaur resting its snout beneath one of its forelimbs while encircling its tail around its entire body. That's why
So
that's
it's
why
a
it's called
cat.
yeah, that's why it's called a sleeping dragon.
Wait,
Oh, because it's covering its nose and like it's all coiled up.
wait, isn't it a dragon covering its nose? Or is
It's a
that just me?
dinosaur. It's a species. It was
Oh.
like a new species
Right,
of dragon
right.
that they discovered and they named it like after this. The
Uh,
scientific name was
okay,
sleeping
yeah,
dragon.
yeah. They
Yeah.
said they were dragon bones, but they were dinosaur. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah, all of that was
That
about dinosaurs.
right. No, but it is adorable, and I was just picturing like my dog curled up when he puts his one leg over the other, and I'm like, oh, you're all tucked up.
Right?
So cute.
Yeah, it is really cute when they do that.
Yeah, so you get two
Um,
cats. Like my mom's got two cats right now, which I was gonna tell you before we started that I get to go visit her probably in August for a week or so. So
nice.
I get to go meet her little kitties.
Cute.
Yeah, I think
That's
Rain's
so
gonna be excited too. She loves cats. But yeah, they like to like curl up on each other and hug each other and
yeah.
I'm
You
like,
just
so cute.
snuggle. It just makes
Yeah.
me want to be a cat and I could just sleep all day long.
Sometimes I want to get another dog for Fenrir, so he has someone to snuggle with.
Oh
He's
my
snuggly when
god.
he wants to be. Anyway.
Yeah. Uh, what was this? Oh, this is like continuing some of the. I think the rest of this is just random things. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Um, in East Asian stories, dragons are masters of transformations. Kind of said this. They can
Oh.
shrink, stretch, or even disappear. They can take the forms of a fish, snake, or even a human. Which is
Oh, so they're Ant-Man and a shapeshifter.
yeah.
Bigger, smaller, whatever. Okay, all right.
Uh
Sweet.
oh, this is I have more on this. I'll get into if we do the Patreon episode. In
Ooh,
ancient Chinese
don't
dragon
tease me.
mythology, it said that the Dragon King had 9 sons after copulating with different animals, and they
Oh,
created hybrids.
oh, so
And
he's like Zeus,
yeah,
horny as
kind of.
fuck.
Each son was sent into the world with specific duties as the heir protectors of Earth and its people. And there's a list of them because the use of particular dragons um, in Chinese architecture on buildings denotes the type of energy or purpose of that place. So it's kind of reading through like there's a tortoise like dragon that's used in columns, like in the middle of columns to show like strength, like that's going to protect it. And then
Oh.
there's one like different things like that. It was like this is the strong dragon and it's one of the 9 sons and it was sent here to like provide strength. And then there's ones that um protect energy, so they're like used in temples and stuff like that, and ones that
Oh.
protect against rain or fire, so they're
They're
used on
like
different types of
crystals you can
structures.
collect.
But they're like specific, they all have like specific physical features, so there's a lot of examples if you look them up, and it'll say like this is like this son's named dragon, like this is an example of this one of the son's names, and it's kind of cool.
I do like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I like I like a good like, oh, there's a dragon and he has a name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the island of Borneo in Southeast Asia, traditional
Ooh.
houses of the Kayan or Kenya, looks like Kenya, people have long verandas carved with the shapes of crouching dragons on the rafters.
And hidden
The art,
tigers? No. I had to.
the The artists of these carvings may have taken ideas from porcelain jars that were brought to the island by Chinese traders.
Okay.
On the island, the dragon actually is the depicted as kind of the goddess of the underworld. And
Ooh.
I could have gotten more of this. I didn't really end up with time to look it up, but yeah, it'd be a cool
Sounds
rabbit hole
cool.
to go under. She's the goddess of the underworld. She protects the living and guards over the dead and is associated with the earth, water, thunder, and lightning.
Oh my god, she gets all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
She's Thor, she's Poseidon. No.
Yeah, right?
Right. Damn.
Um, this one's a little longer. Because Chinese dragons are strongly associated with water and weather, they were sometimes depicted as more humanoid. Uh,
Oh.
Such as a dragon's head, like the head of a dragon that's wearing the king's headdress, like on their head, and then the king's like robes or costume. Uh,
Okay.
and
Sounds cute.
yeah, in this
Trying to
in
picture
the
it.
in this depiction, there's 4 major dragon kings that each represented one of the 4 seas. The East Sea corresponding with the East China Sea, and the South Sea corresponding to the South China Sea. The West Sea, sometimes seen is the Kinga Lake and beyond, and then the North Sea, sometimes seen as Lake Baikal. Uh,
Okay. Yes, I think I've heard of that lake in like
oh,
Russia.
okay. I don't know. I didn't look up any of this.
I think
Uh,
it is. I feel like it's a like the deepest lake or something over there. I'll double check.
and it says Chinese villages that sat close to rivers or seas often had temples that were dedicated to their local dragon king. And in times of drought or
Ooh.
flooding, local government officials would actually lead the community in offering, in like doing an offering or even a sacrifice. or just simply conducting other religious rites at the temple to appease the dragon, either asking for most of the time more or less rain. Uh,
Still,
yeah, yeah,
just those years of drought. Yeah, is it the Lake Baikal, Baikal?
yeah.
Yeah, it's in Russia and Siberia, just north of the Mongolian border. So that makes sense. It's
Okay, yeah.
the Asia
So
part
the
of
North
Russia.
Sea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, the next one said symbols of dragons were worn into battle by samurai warriors in both Japan and China. Probably other
Oh,
places
cool.
too. Often shown on their helmets, masks, and armor. And other warriors also had symbols of dragons that were on their suba or sword guards that would protect their hands in
Oh,
combat. Um, yeah,
sword guards. Well, like the
just
cross
the
guard, maybe part of a
yeah,
sword, because that's just what. Yeah, it's a part of the
yeah,
hilt that keeps your hand from going down the blade.
yeah. I think that's all it is.
I feel smart
Uh,
because I watch Forged in Fire. No. Someone the other day was like, the fuller of the blade. He's like, like the indent. And I was like, oh, I know. Some D&D thing I was watching.
huh. In Chinese, the next one in Chinese culture, people who are seen as excellent or outstanding may be
Oh.
compared to a dragon, and on the
Oh.
other side, people that are seen as incapable, that lack any sort of achievements, or
Oh.
uh, are often compared to disesteemed creatures such as worms. So you're like, you're
No.
a worm and I'm a dragon. Like, what an
Right. Like you're
insult.
the opposite. Oh,
Yeah.
no. That's a
Uh,
burn. That's.
yeah. It'd be pretty brutal.
Yeah, that sounds like that's something people get bullied with, or which sucks.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, the next thing I thought was really, really cool, and it makes a lot of sense now that I think about it, is that the tiger is actually considered to be the eternal rival of the dragon. And this is why they are often
Really?
depicted fighting in battle against one another. So I think back to every time I saw like artwork or uh like tattoos. It's like a dragon and a tiger and they're like look like they're
Really?
fighting. Like that's just so iconic almost in my mind. Uh And I was like, okay, that makes
Interesting.
sense. So they're eternal rivals. That's why they're depicted together.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I was just like, as soon as I read that, I was like, that makes so much sense. Like,
I want to now. I need to know what Chinese sign my sister is because she has a big
hmm.
tiger tattoo. So now I'm trying
Okay.
to remember. I'm like, wait a minute.
My
Yes, she's
mother
a
and I.
tiger. My sister's a tiger
Okay.
and I'm a dragon.
Oh no.
Well, sometimes we butt heads.
Yeah.
But I love her so very much.
Yeah. My
That's
mom and I are
funny.
both uh the pig, or sometimes they call it the boar.
Are they?
Well,
I
the
wonder if
pig.
that's lucky to be the same sign as your mom. Like a lot of people believe it's lucky if your mom has like a similar birthday to you and stuff like
I
that.
don't
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Hopefully.
know.
There's birds going crazy outside my window. I'm sorry. I
I
just
can
heard
hear
one like,
them. It's
okay, and
fine.
now I heard one like nearby. I was like, whoa. Anyway, sorry. I don't know
Uh
where that magpie is. There's a bunch of magpies. Okay.
the next one was literally just a sentence. I thought it was I should say all I kept was a sentence because there was a lot more about it. Was just
Oh
that
no.
the dragon, or like having a dragon statue or symbols of a dragon, is
Yeah.
like important in feng shui. So you're supposed to put like the placement in
Oh.
the room and which way they're facing, and um stuff about having it like remember having it like opposite your desk. If it's like right opposite your desk, it's bad
Oh,
because it means you're like
really?
opposing the dragon in business. And like, there was a lot. I was like, I'm not getting into this. It's crazy. Uh,
Okay, no, I need to know more though because I just told you there's like a shelf behind me that has dragon things on it. So
I think
technically it's
that was
opposite
good having.
the
No, it's
desk
looking.
I'm sitting at. Oh,
No, it's
okay.
you facing the statue means
Oh,
like
right,
facing
because
it
it's
in opposition.
not behind me. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Phew. I really
Behind
need
you,
this
I think is
podcast
good.
to take off. Come on, guys.
Uh, and then for we kind of touched on it a few times, the Chinese zodiac. So that's used to
Yes.
designate the years in the Chinese calendar, and it's thought that each animal is associated with certain personality traits. And the dragon years are usually the most popular years to have end up like people wanting to have kids being born in them. And
Okay.
uh people are born in the dragon years, like the number of people born in the dragon years are more than any of the other animal years. It's like there's more people born in the
Wow.
dragon
Like
years than any
they
other.
make a point of it.
Yeah, like they're intentionally getting pregnant so that their child is
Well,
born in the dragon years.
if they're going to avoid a license plate that has the unlucky number 4 or whatever it was I
Yeah.
talked about in the unlucky number episode. Yeah. I can see that. That's so freaking interesting though how
Yeah.
it like really influences an entire culture, like an entire nation.
Yeah. I only have a couple more. The first one's about dragon boat racing because that's pretty
Ooh.
cool.
Yeah.
Um,
I worked with a
I just have.
girl that did that. Well, we did at
Oh,
Shannon
we.
at West.
Oh, okay. I've seen it once or twice. Uh, I always like it,
Yeah, it looks
but
cool.
yeah, there's probably a lot more you could look up for this, but
Oh, for
dragon
sure.
boat racing typically happens during different festivals. Said especially during the Donwu festival. These boats
Ooh.
are paddled by teams of up to 20 people, along with a drummer and a steersman. And typically, the boats have a carved dragon as the head and then the tail of the boat. So, like, it's
Okay,
kind of
yeah.
carved. Yeah, they're pretty cool. I really like watching them, and they go so fast. Like, those people are just
Yeah.
giving it their all.
They really do it like with the boats, every parade, which,
Yeah.
we've all probably seen the Chinese dragons in the parades with people.
Yeah, that's my next
Trees.
thing.
Oh, sorry.
Uh,
But yeah.
I could not talk about them.
Oh, no,
It's called
exactly. And I'm like, yeah, everyone kind of probably have seen that too.
Yeah, it's called dragon dancing, and it's a Chinese
Oh, okay.
tradition that um they say may have ancient roots. It didn't really say uh
Oh,
like where it's been tracked to, but it's linked to the Lunar New Year typically.
well,
Performers
okay.
celebrate the season by dancing through the streets, moving a brightly colored dragon. It's typically made of bamboo, cloth, and paper. During this like Lunar New Year, the dragon is a symbol of spring, and its image has been used in rain ceremonies dating back to at least the Han Dynasty,
Wow.
that went from 206 BC to 220 AD. It's like a
It
long time.
always comes back to rain ceremonies.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but yeah, that's all I have. Not all I have,
Really?
but that's all I'm gonna share because other it'd be like so much longer otherwise. So if you want to know more, I have you can join our Patreon. I have stuff about probably close to at least 15 or 20 of the other named dragons, what they typically
Okay.
do, um,
Oh,
and sometimes
yeah.
their appearances. And then I also have stuff about what each of the colored dragons mean, um,
Oh, that's cool.
or like symbolize in Chinese culture. And then I have um, what this says includes a variety of different dragon types. So, like, whether they're winged or like celestial or coiling or treasure or yellow, all that kind of stuff.
No
And
way.
then and then I also have a myth about dragons, and then I have information about all of the 9 sons of the Dragon King that are used in like
Whoa.
architecture. So it's a lot more. But we're not gonna get into it because it would be like almost half again. So if
Okay,
you
but
want to
we need
hear
to soon
more,
because my jaw is just like on the floor
yeah,
going, the what now? I love the the categories and stuff. Like
yeah,
you hear
it's
about
a lot.
dragons and lore, but yeah, I love that kind of stuff. You'll see
Yeah,
my segment might have some categories too, but oh my
yeah.
god. We're
I'm
gonna put that
excited.
on
So if you want to,
Patreon. Oh my
yeah,
god,
if you guys want
guys.
to join Patreon and hear the rest of my segment, I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun too. But
We're gonna have a few things to drop there because we're gonna
yeah,
do our long promised ask me anything where we have some good questions about favorite cryptids and shit we
yes.
like and what got us into this and stuff like that uh and then there was that medical, the one where we did medical. I don't know what episode it was right now, but I had a segment that I had a little bit more on like the medical maladies and the scary shit that happens to you when you're in the doctor's office and like the surgery's gone
Oh
wrong. When I
yeah,
was talking about that stuff, I only did like half of my stuff that time. And now
yeah.
Kelsey's gone and done in Atlanta where she's
I
wrote
had
wrote
to.
more than like maybe, yeah.
My
For a
notes
whole
are normally
segment.
like 4.5 to 5 pages, and this was past 8. And I was like, I can't do this. This will be too
That's so
much.
crazy.
So,
I like
yeah.
that. I have joined Patreons for less, to
Hmm.
find out cases they keep alluding to and
Yeah.
stories they have. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Let's just
Hmm.
say you got me on the edge of my seat. Like, what? 9? Okay, I know there's 9 hells. Now there's 9 suns. Like, what the fuck? I need to know. Okay, well, that'll have to be a mini-sode or something. Okay.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Fuck yeah, we'll let you know when it drops so that you can know uh, when you should be on there, which is now already. Um, Stay tuned for a promo from one of our Darkcast Network buddies. I'll cut this out if not, but I think feature the lovely Strange History podcast, who I got some of my fun facts, and today I learned that I started that episode out
Oh,
with.
yeah.
And once we come back, I'm going to tell you guys all about some of the crazy dragons from Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, fun.
Kind of fun, kind of a little off our regular topic, but yeah, we'll be right back. Well, welcome back to
Yes.
Two of Dragons on Castles and Cryptids.
Dragons, dragons, and more dragons. You
It's
get a dragon, and you get a dragon, and you get a dragon. In the best,
I'm a,
like, Oprah meme you can
yeah.
imagine. Everybody gets a dragon.
Now, I don't know if you would count this as cheating, but this week when I was trying to remember what kind of dragons Kelsey was covering and trying to pick a case, I was like, you know who has a lot of dragons? Dungeons and Dragons. So I play it, and it's actually like kind of involved and cool. Like when you're saying there's like a list of so many different dragons with different names and personalities, like that's what I
Yeah.
find about these dragons too, which I find is very, very fun. So this is going to be a little bit more modern lore, if you will.
Okay.
But they're fun. I didn't put any pictures, but there are some very pretty ones, because basically they come in three different types, which are metallic. So you can imagine they're bronze, gold, silver, that kind of.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the what they call the chromatic, which is like colors, different colored dragons. They're like green and
Okay, yeah.
black and that. Which I'm like, chromatic does sound better than like. I was like, why couldn't they just said colored? And then I'm like, nope, that doesn't sound good. Um, Probably that's why. And then they've also just brought back recently the gem dragons too. So those ones are like your crystal looking guys.
Yeah, that's cool.
Uh, Obviously for us folks, yeah, crystal's good. But no, it's cool because they are like have the different personalities. The metallic ones are the morally good ones, as I've learned. Did not know this even after playing the game and watching different shows. I knew there was a thing called a chroma conclave, which sounded fun, and dragons were in it. And I'd be like, chroma, 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 chameleon. No. Actually, there. Do you know? Okay, so in you watched John Wick, you know the black guy who's like the concierge or whatever in like the
Yeah,
John
the
Wick
guy from
movies.
Fringe.
Yes, yes, that's right. I'm
Agent
sorry.
Broyles from Fringe.
That's right. You'd know him from Fringe too. I think the first thing I saw him on was Oz, thanks to my sister. Thanks, Ressa. He was on
Yeah.
the Oz show, but he played a Chroma Conclave dragon in the recent uh Amazon Prime series Legend of Vox Machina, because that's based on the Critical Role D&D campaign, which is very fun. But anyway, he passed away. Rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
So he had such a good voice. Anyone
Yes.
had to play a dragon, like he was perfect. I don't know, like honey. um, so they have some really cool sounding dragons. I remember the first one I deep dived into. I listened to a podcast episode that was about the amethyst one. It sounds fun and beautiful, and they are
Yeah,
known
I
for
love
being right.
amethyst stones. Yeah.
And instead of having like scales, they basically apparently have like lavender colored crystals. Sounds really,
Nice.
really
Yeah.
pretty. Um, Probably there's pictures of all of them, but it's so generic that I was like, you can probably look up
Yeah,
anything.
same. I
Yeah.
was like, you can imagine
Yeah.
the
Also time.
swirly dragon. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen their goatees. Exactly. It's like I know.
yeah.
Um and then all the Dungeons and dragons have their different attack weapons, like their breath weapon is called. So you can learn about the different attacks that you can do. Like for the amethyst ones, they said that some shriek like a banshee with an attendant lethal power, but they can only do so twice a day. Like there's all these stipulations you'll get with your like attacks, because otherwise it wouldn't be fun, and it wouldn't be
Yeah.
even, and you'd be overpowered. For the amethyst dragon, others projected a line of force with concussive effect that could either stun or injure beings caught within. And finally, sometimes in addition to a line of force, once per day, an adult could spit a kind of explosive crystal or faceted gem of violet with a lozenge shape. A lozenge shape. Nope, that's just hard to say.
Yeah.
Have a lozenge in my mouth. They could launch it up to 75 feet or 23 meters, and with perfect aim, usually into the ranks of their foes, it exploded on impact with concussive force, harming all in a radius of 20 feet, 6.1 meters, or 60 feet, 18 meters. It could knock down creatures smaller than the dragon and knock them unconscious for a few hours. But also, they can have the young ones that can walk on water 6 times a day. Like Jesus H. Amethyst Christ. Never encountered any dragons yet in our campaigns, but I'm excited to. Tell you what, kick some ass. So there are 10 true types of dragon classes, I guess. They the ones that are colored, or the 5 chromatic, are evil colors. They are the black, the blue, the green, the red, and the white. So those are the evil colored
Okay.
dragons. Yeah. Um yeah, anyway, I'll get into it a little bit more, but then there's the 5 different metallic good kinds. There's the brass, the bronze, the copper, the silver, and the gold. Um and the gem ones have apparently just been brought back into the game with the printing of the book, The Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, which unfortunately we had the hard copy of, but Pat said he had just lent it to Caitlin, who's in our D&D party, because
Okay.
as you'll come to find out, she plays a dragonborn character, so you'll see. They're dragon-like. He's like, but I have a copy of it on the app. I was like, okay. Get my research from there.
Yeah.
Um, there's a whole story that your Dungeons and Dragon group can like play along with and stuff. So the whole point of having this book about Tiamat and the Chroma Conclave is how to like fight and stop the cult that's trying to raise Tiamat, who's like this undead dragon.
Okay.
So it was funny because I was like looking through the book when I was like, Pat, you got books on dragons, and then I was like, oh, I remember you sent me to buy this for you because it wasn't available in a chapters anywhere near you. I like pulled the receipt out of it. It still had like, one of those things they'll stick sometimes in books that like the anti-theft device. It's like a little
Oh.
sheet of paper that looks like a sticker or something, but like
Yeah.
it probably beeps if you go through the thing. I was like, you've never even like opened this. But anyway, um, and yeah, I've definitely heard of Tiamat, but there's yeah, I'll mention, but there's some celebrities that play D&D that I've heard of too, which is I'm like, okay, all right, you're hot and you play D&D, fine. um, but so yeah, there's this like whole campaign you can play where they're trying to raise Tiamat, who's lawful evil dragon goddess of greed. She's the queen of evil dragons and, for a time, reluctant servant of the greater gods Bane and later Asmodeus, who like
Yeah.
is a demon that is mentioned
Yeah.
in yeah, like real lore. Um King of Hell or Prince of Hell or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know, I get all my demon lore from Shadowhunters books, so what do I know?
Yeah, I was like, that was Magnus Bane's father.
Right? I think I was just doing research and I was like, Belial. I'm like, I just read about him and now he's coming up in my research. So stupid.
Yeah.
Everything I need to know about demons I learned from Shadowhunters. No.
Right? Between that and like Supernatural.
Oh god, that too. It's like that's how we learned about Wendigos, and we know
Yeah.
apparently that's some sort of appropriation to some people, unfortunately, which I apologize if, we don't get the lore right. But then also they taught you how to say Sam Hain, which was apparently the wrong pronunciation too. So shame on you, Supernatural.
Yeah.
Although I love Supernatural. Um yeah, I had the whole book, so I could you can get into the whole adventure you can have with Tiamat, but what's cool about that dragon is like she's a unique chromatic dragon with 4 heads. 4 heads? She has 1 head for each main color of the chromatic dragons. One black, blue, green, red, and white. So 5 heads. She's a 5-headed
Okay.
dragon.
It's like I don't think the math adds up.
I was trying to remember. I'm like, I know she's insane, and like, I've seen the little figures of her, but like, I don't know. I'm trying to think now if there's another lore I can think of that has a 4 or 5 headed dragon other than Skylanders, which was a video game I played with my kid. It had like a 4 headed dragon. And you get the 3 headed like Cerberus,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
I think I saw three-headed dragons in a movie once. I just
I
can't
mean,
remember what
they've
it
been talked
was.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have to only have one head. But I think that's what makes her scary, Tiamat. Excuse me. And apparently each head operates independently of one another. So that's pretty fun. And her body is similar to a wyvern with a barb-tipped tail. So they're like mini dragons.
Oh, okay.
I think they have, less legs. She's hateful, spiteful, vain, and unforgiving. Kind of a bitch. So basically, she gets banished to the Nine Hells in this battle, trickery, betrayal turn of events that was detailed in that book. But I was like, okay, this is almost as complicated as real world politics.
Yeah.
But this cult of the dragon ends up wanting to raise her from the undead, which previously they had just had more benign, like, well, we worship dragons, but we don't really do anything about it, kind of
Mm-hmm.
situations. And then this one guy starts leading the cult, is like, no, we need to raise her. And then that whole adventure that you can play is called The Rise of Tiamat, because you're trying to prevent that. You're trying to
Yeah.
prevent the rise of Tiamat because she's an undead dragon. Um, and then because there's so many, apparently, just like when you were like, oh, Chinese dragons, and then it was like, apparently I
Yeah.
have a list I could do of like 20 or whatever. Well, I did find a list that listed some of the highlights of some of the dragons, and I
Okay.
was like, I'm gonna go over that because I think it'll be fun. But there's quite a lot, just like you said. So maybe we have a whole Patreon episode waiting if
Yeah.
we can't get into all of it. But okay, so this, how you'll find a good listicle or whatever on Google, and it's the most fun ones. So this one was, some taken from a list called 20 Awesome D&D Dragons and How to Use Them Properly by Jacob Burke. So it just went into some of the dragons and what they like. Number 20 was the red dragons, who they said red dragons are covetous and easily baited into a fight. Now this could be handy should you play D&D with us at any point. Um,
No, I don't think so. It's just not my thing at all. I don't know.
it can be hard. I could see
Yeah.
that. You know, like,
Yeah, the
does it
role
make you feel a little
playing.
shy?
No, just like, I don't know, the like role play thing is not
Yeah.
no interest to me.
And see,
But
to me, I'm like, I always had an interest in acting and stuff like that. But then again, I don't, uh, not wouldn't be good at it. Don't like being the center of attention. So I am not.
yeah.
It's hard for me too because I'm like, oh, you have to like be imaginative and think on the spot, and then like
Yeah.
act as your like character words. So yeah, it can be, you know, pretty difficult if you're, not into it or whatever. So yeah, it's definitely tough, but oh, they are making so many different ones nowadays that I feel like it does make it more accessible for people to try. Not even with D&D, but I was telling Pat earlier just that I was listening to one of the podcasts I like that's called Sinisterhood, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we were playing a game called Nowhere, and it was role playing." And then she goes in, Tommy, I think, which was one of the girls' husband, was the leader, and the other one's like, "Yeah, he's the game master." And I was like, "Oh, he's the GM." Like they're playing like a Dungeons and Dragons type role playing game.
Yeah.
It was just cute. Um, But anyway, the dragons are pretty fun in it, I have to admit. So I think you'll enjoy them. Uh, the red dragons, they said, are classic D&D villains who love gold, but most of all prestige. So it's more like they love that, like, this is my gold, this is my stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And like, look at my bling and stuff. Yeah, they're showy. They can conjure gouts of magma, liquid hot magma, and also earthquakes using their, they have something called lair actions, which I just learned about from a video Pat was watching, making me absorb D&D stuff by osmosis. Even though I'm like, I'm not gonna DM anything. I don't need to learn about how to run a thing, but he'll be watching it anyway. So yeah, they can do stuff around their lair because it's where they live. Well, it gets their home turf or whatever. Home turf advantage. Um, they have the ability to turn the area around their lair into deserts and also to see through open flames. Red dragons also have the fire breath weapon. They all have a breath weapon of some kind because, like, duh.
Hmm.
But it varies whether
Yeah.
they're a fire one or like an ice one or whatever.
Okay.
Um, or like you had a lot of ones that had water affinity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently the red dragons are very insecure and easily manipulated. So that's good to know.
Yeah.
Just in case you're like, well, I want to get into a fight with this one, or I don't want to. Um, then they said that Draco Liches are powerful undead spellcasters that don't fight fair. So this one's kind of fun because you have to know that liches are like not really like zombies, but more like White Walkers, I guess, because
Okay.
they're like spellcasters who try to defeat death through magical means. So
Mm.
they don't want to. They want to keep themselves alive using spells or whatever. So then I was like, okay, so a Dracolich is a dragon, so it's like Viserion after the Night King raised him back from the dead because he's an undead dragon,
Yeah.
which is hella scary. So in the game, they'll have things like added necrotic damage, which is basically like undead damage, and they're difficult to kill thanks to the power of a phylactery, which is like a Horcrux. So if a dragon has one of those, you have to like kill it before you can kill them.
Oh,
Like
okay.
all these little things, which are like, no wonder you have to have a whole book on it. Your dragon lore is extensive.
Yeah.
I know. It's just as in depth as the real historical dragon lore, I would hazard to say sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah, depending
I
on the
don't know.
place.
I'll have to hear once we do the rest of yours where you do the categories that you
It's
have
a
too.
lot, yeah. It's like just like here's 25 of like out of basically 25 out of 100 that are like named in like
Oh,
Chinese
really?
culture, like ancient Chinese culture that they have been like individually identified through different stories and stuff.
That's
It's just like,
crazy.
and those ones are
So it's
separate
like,
than like the colored ones, which are
yeah.
separate from the sons, like the sons of the Dragon King, which are separate from these ones and
Oh.
these ones. It's a whole lot.
But they're so like accepted basically. There's so many stories because,
Yeah.
you know, all the stories are true, as the shadow hunters say. Uh, yeah, that seems so interesting.
Ooh,
Ugh.
pardon me.
Um. Yeah. Well, so there's a few other fun facts. Oh yeah, these were the dead zombie dragons. But to become a lich requires some pretty evil deeds. So you're not just like normal stupid undead that got killed and came back like brains. But one must consume souls to do become like this lich. So it's like black
Okay.
magic slash undead. Yeah, it's not too great. And they are also very powerful, old, and intelligent. Um, so yeah, it's just like apparently one of the ways the dragons can be like undead and still come at you, which is not so fun.
Yeah. No, that would be awful.
No, and they all have their little different personalities, which I love. But it's like, okay, you have to think about this when you meet them. um, the next one was that blue dragons are vicious but can be reasoned with. They like lairs in barren deserts. They prefer order and mockery to chaos and outright devastation. They just want to make fun of you a little bit. They won't actually punch you.
Yeah. Mockery. That's
They're
weird.
just the mean girls of the dragon world. Um, they also have lightning breath, and it doesn't mean that they're more moral just because they prefer order than their fellow chromatic dragons. Like, there's still pretty crazy. They can conjure mirages and sandstorms. The area around their lair is peppered with sinkholes and dust devils. Been on that level of Mario Galaxy. Um, sometimes
Yeah.
you have to whirl yourself up into the dust devil and then you can get across
Oh
the
god.
land because the rest of the area is sinkholes. They also, like a lot of these dragons have their preferred um treasure. So these ones love jewels, but they won't take a pretty jewel if it does not match the overall aesthetic of its hoard. So this is your friends that you have. You know, we
You're
have our
picky.
friend Taylor that we used to work with who wouldn't put a picture on her Instagram board if it didn't match the aesthetic overall.
Yeah. This is
We
like
all
next level.
I know. I want things to look good, but I don't have that kind of vision.
No.
Sometimes I'm like, I should make Kelsey do all the Instagrams and stuff because she has much better taste. Somehow I think her aesthetic would be so much better. If we had all the time in the world, this is what we'd
Yeah.
be doing nonstop and we'd make it perfect. But
If my only problem is I hate Instagram because it auto
yeah.
crops everything. So like
Yeah.
that's the thing. I like
It's
Facebook because Facebook shows you the whole picture. Anytime you post pictures, it'll show you the whole picture. Where Instagram will like cut
oh.
off the sides to make everything a portrait picture, and that pisses me off.
Yeah, and then you can try to address that one, but then sometimes it makes the
Yeah.
other pictures in the post go to that dimension. Yeah, you're right. It's kind of a nightmare.
Yeah, the stories are easier because you can like zoom out in the story and make the picture part of it, and then it'll do like a
Mm,
background that's kind of the same color scheme. So stories are fine. It's when
yeah.
it's like an actual post that you can't really do anything about it. Just like fucking up
Yeah.
all the scales of all the picture sizes.
I know, I'm so over Instagram for I don't know, sometimes because of stuff like that and then just
Yeah,
different things that I like need to post on or whatever. I get so tired of being on Instagram. I'm like, it's not worth it. I'm
yeah.
convinced from listening to Creeps and Crimes lately that we need to get on TikTok and that's how we're going to get seen.
Ugh. No.
I know I'm
Oh,
scared of it too, but I was like, you're not wrong when you say that it has an algorithm where like you don't have to be on someone's friend page or something where like they can just find you more easily. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So anyway, I'm gonna look into it. I have a personal TikTok account. I was trying to figure out how you make it another one. We'll see.
Okay.
It's okay, Kelsey. We're gonna become famous eventually, so it'll be a slow process.
I'm like, I just don't like the premise of like the TikToker influencers and all that garbage. Those people
I
and their
told you, I just literally watched the horror movie Influencer last night, and she like
yeah,
basically like tries to kill people and take over their accounts and that kind of stuff. It's a whole thing. It wasn't bad. It
weird.
wasn't super scary. It was, a
Yeah.
tense thriller. But
Okay.
yeah, I wouldn't say it was scary, but it was worth watching. Just saying. So, um, I'll round it out and whatever we don't get to. Patreon the fuck. But there's also ghost dragons who haunt one particular item. I thought that was kind of fun.
Oh, it's
A
different.
ghost, yeah. A ghost dragon is one whose spirit has become attached to one particular item they owned in life. And just in the game mechanics, it gives them the fear effect, and breath attacks inflict the frightened condition, which frightened is like, I don't know, you're almost like paralyzed. Not technically paralyzed, but you can't like run towards
Yeah.
something if you're frightened by it because it won't. There's like, no, you're
Oh,
fucking
okay.
terrified of that thing. Your player can't run up to it. You wouldn't
Yeah.
do that. They often guard something that your player characters need. And then they talked about the green dragons who work best from the shadows. They value info networks. They spew poison, literal poison breath. Live in deep forests. They are a threat to the wood elves, and they are very influential and politically powerful. So they don't only
Okay.
spew actual poison, but metaphorical poison too.
Yeah, they got into politics. That's so weird.
Exactly. That's the scariest thing I can think of a dragon could do.
Get into politics.
No. Yeah, they apparently use their threats to bribe or assassinate others, but have
Jeez.
better social skills than most dragons. Like, sure
Oh,
you do, you cult leader.
yeah, you greasy politician.
Stupid green dragons. And they can manipulate forests too around their lairs. Not good. They said dragon turtles are aquatic threats. I've never encountered a dragon turtle, but they seem like scary big sea turtles.
Love it.
Um,
I love turtles, so.
they've that giant turtle thing in the Game of Thrones books too. I remember they're like, "Oh, it's the turtle god." And they like
Oh.
describe it as this great big horny sea turtle or whatever. Turtle,
Turtle.
turtle,
Turtle.
turtle.
I'm just saying turtle, and Gordle's looking at me like, what? He's so confused. He's
Squirtle.
like, turtle.
No,
Tortellini?
we're not. It does sound like Gordo, to be fair.
Oh, maybe that's what he thinks I'm saying. Like, he's like waiting, like blink, blink.
Well, he's
Still
being
looks
quiet
like.
for once.
Well, he was all curled up and he was sleeping, and I could hear him snoring, and then he woke up. So now he's trying to get resettled.
What are you doing, Mom?
Hmm.
I can feel when my dog gets resettled against the post of the bed, like shakes the whole bed.
Oh.
um, uh, I'll go through a couple more here until you're too bored of me. There are sapphire dragons that are archetypal
Ooh.
gem dragons. Oh, sounds so cool, right?
Yeah.
Um, I said, remember, gem dragons can be anything from stalwart and lawful to chaotic and self-involved. Gem dragons are clearly just the teenager in all of us. They have a debilitating breath weapon that's capable of instantly incapacitating a target. The sapphires fit the neutral alignment perfectly, um, because everything in D&D has like an alignment that they used to follow really closely. Like if you were alignment good and then you did something shitty, like your character would, not do well for it because you're like,
Oh, okay.
you're supposed to be working for this good god and then you just did something really shitty. Like they're gonna like disown the crap out of you now.
Yeah.
um so like they're what these guys, they're like kind of neutral. They're antisocial and territorial, fierce in combat, quick to fight, and they also possess telekinesis and thunder-based melee attacks. So some cool attacks. And that's sapphire dragons, and then you get the white dragons, which would fall under the chromatic ones, which means, yeah, they're kind of evil. So the white dragons are primal cunning hunters. They hunt in cold and snowy regions. They have icy breath. They're the most feral of all the dragons, and they rely on their instinct rather than intellect. So they're just living up in snowy caves and shit, focused
Yeah.
solely on their shelter and their food, like the polar bears of these dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. They have powerful melee attacks, surprisingly stealthy and mobile, and they could lock down their lair with the icy walls or a blizzard. They could just conjure it. And I don't know, a lot of them they said are ambush predators. So I was like, I don't really know what you mean, as opposed to like what predators that just talks to them first and then eats them because you're dragons that can be intelligent. But it said that they were ambush predators who lack the cruelty of their kin. I just think they're not as smart. They're more concerned with food and stuff, like it said. But I don't know. Um, then we had moonstone dragons, who are apparently tricksters and guardians, but also sound like they would make a lovely earring or ring. No.
Yeah.
I'm not a poacher. Oh my
When
god.
we were in the mountains, I bought it, I think a clear quartz like rounded stone necklace on like just a
Ooh.
black string. It's so
Oh
cute. And then I
really?
bought,
So it's just in the shape of like a circle?
yeah, it's kind of almost
Okay.
like rounded all the way, and then they drilled a hole like in the middle and it just hangs there. It's not like on
Gotcha.
something. Yeah.
Right.
Or
Because sometimes
wrapped
I'm
in
like,
like wire.
yeah, they make them
Yeah.
into like a heart or whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was just trying to
Yeah.
picture it.
Um
Oh.
what was the other one? It's the it's copper something. They call it copper something because
Ooh.
it's like really sparkly, but it's like a copper almost color.
Oh.
Kind of like browny red color, but it's like all glittery throughout it. It's
Oh,
copper
okay.
something. I always forget
Some
its
of
name.
them
But I have a
have really
couple of
pretty names.
the
Yeah.
stones like that are small that I bought from one of the gem stores like in Edmonton here. But this was like a
Yeah.
whole necklace of it too, and I was like, "Yes, I love that."
Oh, so
Like,
pretty.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember. Like sometimes they have different names for all the ones in those gem stores. Like there's a Jasper Moon, or you know what I mean, like Dragon's
Yeah.
Blood. I think I have something called Dragon's Blood, Jasper. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds cool.
Yeah. It was cool when I found them. I almost got there was one that was supposed to be jade too, but it was really, really light green. It wasn't the nice deep light green, so I
Mm,
didn't end up getting it. Because it was like it was just so like a greeny white. Like it was so white looking you almost wouldn't have been able to tell that it's like slightly off white. And I was like, this isn't really
yeah,
jade. Like that's not the jade I'm looking for. Like
these aren't the jades you're looking for. No, I bet the Star Wars joke, but yeah, I bet the real, maybe the really good stuff is like really, really expensive. They just,
yeah.
yeah, I
Because
don't
there's a
know.
lot of jade in Jasper, supposedly. Because they were
In
in like
Jasper,
all the stores.
Alberta, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just glad. Sometimes people be like, "Why do you gotta say that?" Like Kelsey knows that. I'm like, "Well, other people listen."
Yeah.
There's a place called Jasper in Alberta, but it is also a mineral. So anyway,
Yeah.
but they do have some, like when you go there, you get some really good rock and gem and crystal
Yeah,
samples.
beautiful stuff to look at.
Oh my god, every time we bring my kid into the freaking rock and gem store, I'm like, all right, get out my wallet.
Yeah, I used to walk out with bags of stuff every time we went, and I stopped doing it for years, and now
Tell
I'm
me
getting
about
back
it.
into that stuff again. So I'm just like going to buy rocks again.
Where are my old rocks? Yeah.
10-year-old me would be so proud.
I had it right.
All the polished rocks you can find.
Where's my rock tumbler?
Yeah. Give me
I
a
never had one of
polishing.
those though.
No, my
I
brother
heard
had.
they're loud. I think Lucy from Wine and
Yeah.
Crime got one.
Well, it's
But
basically if you threw rocks in your dryer.
I guess.
Dunk, 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 dunk. Just like
Why
brutal.
wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Oh my god, too funny.
Mm.
Um, okay. I thought I plugged it in. All right, couple more fun facts about some fun dragons. They have moonstone dragons. Someone's car is beeping.
Oh, it stopped.
Moonstone dragons are tricksters and guardians. So they live in the Feywild, which is the equivalent to fairy, or the world where fairies live in most of
Oh,
their stories.
nice.
Yeah. That's what they call it in D&D, is the Feywild. So apparently it's very chaotic neutral just in general in this world. So that's why the Moonstone dragons that are kind of trickstery just love it there, apparently. I can't think of tricksters without thinking of stupid supernatural and
Yeah.
the one that was a trickster who turned out to be a guardian angel, and it's just a really good actor too, so you guys should watch that, if not all 15 seasons at least. The trickster ones. The trickster episodes are the best.
They
Um,
are. It's at the
the one is
mystery
like,
spot and like
yeah,
changing channels and
Mystery Spot is like Groundhog Day for Supernatural because he
yes.
wakes up every morning and
The
the
heat of
love
the
the
moment.
moment. Yeah, the radio's playing Asia or whoever the fuck sings it.
Every morning for a
And then
thousand and some days in a
and
row.
then Dean dies. Yeah, and then
A
Sam has.
thousand times. Does this burrito taste funny to you? Just like he dies again.
My favorite is the like, you got hit by a car here yesterday. Does it look cool?
Yes.
No, you
You
peed
shut.
yourself. Of course I
Yeah.
peed myself. I got hit by a car. What do you expect?
It's
Come
so
on.
funny. I
Oh,
love
Dean.
it.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
It's great. I
um,
love those ones.
classic. Um, oh, okay. Moonstone dragons. Moonstone dragons have multiple breath weapon forms, and they're powerful innate magical have powerful innate magical abilities of many kinds. They're magical as fuck. Oh, and because they're just like so in tune with the Feywild, they can cross planes both physically and in communication. So they can just be like, "What? I can listen into the dimension of fairy." Okay, show off. So not surprisingly, they have a sense of whimsy that the other types of dragons lack, and and are not inherently malicious. You know, they live in the Feywild. Also, black dragons are brutes who live to subjugate.
Dun
That
dun
is
dun.
that is racist. So apparently, they actively take pleasure in the suffering of other creatures. They are ambush predators, but more cunning, and they like easy, crushing victories, and also swampy lairs.
Oh,
I mean, who doesn't like a
all
good
right
crushing
then.
victory of their enemies, whether it's Monopoly or not?
Yeah. If I remember correctly, the for Chinese dragons, the black one has to do with like vengeance and stuff.
Ooh,
Yeah. If I
interesting.
remember, I didn't super read them very carefully, but I'm sure because the black one's like the last one on the list. I'm sure it said like the black dragon is known for vengeance. Like,
Okay, now I'm really interested to
yeah.
know. Okay, yeah, we'll have to what is it called? When you look at one list and then another, I don't know.
Compare.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I will let me get to the great worms and the gold dragons. And then, you know what? Maybe I'll leave some of mine for our special Patreon as well, because it could be pretty long.
Sure.
There's a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
um, yeah. Wait, this was which one? Black. Oh, black dragons. Okay. Yes, because you mentioned. So it said that black dragons in D&D actively take pleasure in the suffering of other creatures. I didn't say this, right?
Yeah, you did.
I said all their things. Okay. Okay, so then the next one was the
I
great
don't know if it was
worms.
all of it. I don't know if it was all of it.
Well, okay, so or maybe I said that they had swampy layers. They had
Yeah.
swampy layers, and they have they can manipulate swamps to entrap enemies in and out of combat.
Oh, okay.
Also, they love gold coins, and especially the ancient ones. So that's their preferred treasure. I don't know if I
Okay.
said that. And they can make particularly vile villains with a cruelty and a desire to dominate. Um,
Yeah.
so number 10, we could probably end on number 10 or number 9 because they're both pretty fun ones. But great worms, number 10, great worms are the pinnacle of dragon kind. They are the end stage of any dragon's life cycle. So it's like they get old AF and they reach ancient status, and then they can visit their other incarnations on other worlds. So they're just
Oh
like,
wow.
bop over this dimension. All three types of dragons can become these worms, and then they reach a mythical monster status, which is basically something that once you get their, if you're fighting a mythical monster and you get their hit points to 0, they would like generate a new health bar and they enter a new
Hmm.
phase of the fight. So they like, yeah, they get this like, you know, new breath of life or whatever. And we could end on, let's do it. Okay. The
Yeah.
gold dragons desire
Ooh.
both treasure and the downfall of evil.
Ooh, I like that. The
And
downfall of
these are,
evil sounds nice.
and they're gold. They're gold dragons, so you know they're good dragons. They are the top tier, the most powerful of, something said the more basic dragons, so the basic chromatic and metallic bitches. I don't know. Maybe they don't get a pumpkin spice latte. But they're the most powerful of the more basic. They make their home in stone structures or caverns or castles. Hey,
Yay!
hell yeah. And the gold dragons also have loyal creatures as guards. So they might take humans or other creatures as their guards. They see themselves as guardians of all good. They love to find quests to fulfill and punishing evil before they should find it. They have a versatile breath weapon to kill or just maim. They can just like rein it in a little.
Yeah.
um, they can also transform into a very um, perfect like humanoid to live among a dragonless society. So like they could just blend in as like a
Okay.
human looking creature if they want to. Yeah. Pretty interesting. And their lair can be a beacon and a refuge for those in need because they are a good type of dragon. So they're usually unlikely to be villains. The gold dragon's preferred treasure is anything of great artisanship. Makes me think of the dwarves in most things. They always make like the most elaborate of the swords and the weaponry and
Oh,
whatnot.
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. They're like, we don't like anything cheap. Don't give me your little like cheap ass earrings. They're like, oh, you don't want much of my jewelry then.
Yeah.
I don't know, just
Buy
telling
mine
you.
at Claire's and like fucking Nardines. Leave me
Yeah.
alone.
I might have like two pieces of gold jewelry, probably both given to me. I have these like not these
Yeah.
earrings, but yeah, earrings from my aunt and whatever. And yeah, they can just basically be an aloof ally or a quest giver. It just depends how you meet these little gold dragons. But once we talk about the Dragonborn, which I'll slide over to our Patreon because that's where the good stuff goes. Um, they're fun too because those are like creatures that have dragon ancestry.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, one of the members in our adventuring group, our party, is a gold dragonborn. And I said to Pat, "Oh yeah, I don't remember. Like Caitlin's a dragonborn, right? She's blue." And he's like, "No, she's gold." And I was like, "Oh, well, now I just know she's just like got all these good blue dragon traits, I guess. Gold, whatever." It's weird because now I'm like, now I know that like the metallic ones are kind of the bad guys in the dragon world of D&D.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, you just watch out for them. But
Yeah.
yeah, tune the fuck in, you guys. We will be putting more on our Patreon and also our Ask Me Anything,
Yeah.
our long awaited
Yep.
Ask Me Anything. And then yeah, we have a lot of mini-sodes on there, and like that's where you get your video content of us
Yeah, we have
doing.
videos we're posting too. We've recorded some of them a few weeks
It's
ago.
true. We could maybe do a couple more for YouTube. I don't know. I do know some podcasts that'll do a weekly short or so where they'll like post it to their YouTube. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I sometimes I'm impressed by when I go on our YouTube and I'll be like, I should give us like, because I don't do our YouTube. I'll be like, oh, I should go in and give us a listen, a thumbs up, and then I'll be like, oh wow, there's like quite a few listens on here, like sometimes
Some of
almost as
them,
many as
yeah.
Spotify. Yeah, which I'm always happy to see, but
Yeah,
if
people
it's YouTube that cracks
seem
it,
to
I don't
really
know.
like the first Urban Legends one we did. So
Oh
the
yeah.
um what did we do?
Well,
I did the like
the
when a stranger
babysitter.
calls thing, and then you
Yes.
had oh my god, I
I
just had it. It
only
wasn't
did
the
like
Disney one.
Polybius,
Yeah.
the video game kind of myth in that one.
Yeah,
I
people
think
seem to like that one a bit more than some of our other episodes. It had a few more views,
okay.
especially initially, like right out of the gate. It kind of was like, oh, that's like
You picked a
trending
good
upwards more.
thumbnail.
Yeah.
Like the
Gotta grab
picture
people
from
with the movie poster.
that movie poster is good. Yes, with like it just I don't know, it's just like really a girl with her eyes kind of looking.
And the phone right there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess it's not really anything for anyone that hasn't seen it, but it just kind of like grabs your attention. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, who knows? If we knew what the algorithm fucking, mystery was, we would just be like, "Wow." But
Yeah.
I will say that yeah, maybe I we might get on the TikTok. I'm going to maybe try it. We've done Instagram and shit like that, and then um I've been listening to a lot of Creeps and Crimes lately, which is so funny because I think to myself, they're CNC, and then we're Castles and Cryptids, and then you listen to one that's Crimes and Consequences, and we're all like,
Yeah.
we could literally, like,
It's
I
a
think
lot
one of
of
their,
CNCs.
no, I think, yeah, and I think one of their hashtags was like CNC pod merch or something. And I was like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that?
Okay.
But, yeah, sorry, no, yeah, it was, fuck, fun stuff, I guess. Sorry, I forget what was, again, gonna go for there. Train of thought. It's gone.
Well, next
Yes.
week, though, for our regular episode, we're doing we're taking a trip to Italy for a international true crime episode. See what we see what we find.
Oh, you wanted the crimes from Italy. Oh, okay.
Mamma mia!
Ah, the Mario movie. It's a crime against humanity.
I'm a
No, it
Luigi.
wasn't. It was good. It was
It's
good.
a me Mario.
Hell yeah. And no, I have not picked my case yet because I was gonna
I
ask you
haven't
at the
either.
beginning of this one.
I I tried to
Finally,
I
we're on the
tried
same
to look
page.
at cases earlier today and I thought I had one and then I was like trying to look it up and let's just say even past the halfway point of me typing in the victim's name, like halfway through the first page of Google results, it became not even related to that case at all and I was like, "Oh, that's too
Oh,
little of information." I was like, "Oh,
that's tough. Yeah,
yeah." So, yeah,
we'll find
stay tuned.
something.
We'll figure it out. But
Italy, Italy.
I
All
I
right.
don't have mine pre-done because I was on vacation in the mountains for 3 days. So
It's true, but she had her notes done way before I did. So
yeah, well I had
that's
to have my notes done for
anyone's fault.
this
It's
like
mine.
before I left. So I had them done like a week ago, and it just lined up that you were supposed to edit this last week's episode. So it worked out good for me.
No, we need Italy crimes. All right. Well,
Yeah.
we'll see next week. Something else. I'm so offensive. Yes,
Yeah.
someone can say a boot now because
Yeah.
that's
I
about
know,
the
eh?
way it gets. Oh, I know. It's a boot the way it gets, eh?
That they're over there.
All right. Thanks for listening. Don't forget
Bye.
to fucking rate and review.
Aggressive. Fucking rate and review.
Oh, we have not asked you in a while. I don't know what to tell you. I can promote Patreon more, but I just thought you might want to change it up. So
Gordo says please rate, review, and subscribe.
if you
And
think Gordo is cute, give us a 5 stars because he is fucking
oh
adorable. I will put up more Gordo posts if I have to.
yeah,
Both of our
he's
animals are
purring.
freaking cute.
They're
I'm just gonna
so
say.
cute. We'll put up all
Gordo
the cute
has
pictures of Gordo and all the derpy pictures of Fenrir with his blep tongue because it's so cute every time he does it.
Gordo
Smooth.
is also cute but slightly derpy. He's got that slight cross to his beautiful blue eyes.
Yeah, when he looks straight on, he does kind of go cross-eyed, and I think it's hilarious.
Okay, I learned that Botox was first invented for to help with people with crossed eyes.
Oh, really? Hi.
Apparently.
Hi.
And now we use it to freeze our face. Hi, Gordo.
Gordo headbutted the mic
No.
because I was petting him and then I stopped for a second and he's like, bye.
He's an attention whore that would like to be a YouTuber. He would like me to
Yeah.
give him his own freaking platform, like whatever cat I follow that's like Scottish fold ear cat or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
I
yes, I'll follow this
follow
cat. He's fucking cute. What do you want?
I follow a few pets. I follow Nala, the
Yeah.
iconic one that had that little shark hat.
Okay, yeah,
The
because that used
cutest.
to be your
Yeah, that was like my avatar
picture
on
at work.
everything.
Yeah.
That's
She's so
Nala.
cute.
And I follow a girl. Um, most of her Instagram is under Juniper Fox, but I think it's like Juniper the Fox.
Ooh, cute.
Um, and she does a bunch of animal rescue stuff. So she has a whole bunch of foxes. She has opossums. She
Oh.
has snakes and geckos
Oh
and
my god,
a couple
really?
dogs. And she has a skunk and yeah,
All
she
the
has a
things that
bunch
you
of
ever wanted
stuff.
to just take in, but your parents wouldn't let you.
They're very, very cute.
Oh my
Yeah, those
god.
are I think the some of the only pet accounts I follow. But yeah.
I just, when I take pictures of Fen, I'll add the little hashtag, the Fen the trash panda Akita. I'm like, all right. If you
He's,
get
oh
trending,
yeah,
it's your own fault.
so
You're just too
cute.
damn cute. We got some cute pets,
It
but
was only earlier today I thought, should I make Gordo an Instagram? Like a separate one?
probably. Holy
Uh,
shit! Everyone else seems to get 10,000 followers, but
yeah, and I was like, oh, I was like, I don't. Every time I seem to try and get a picture of him, I almost have to be like waiting, like stalking in, waiting under
oh,
cover of, like,
Fen
just
is the same. He hates
yeah,
having his picture taken. He can be like laying totally like I'm like you're fucking dead to the world. I like grab my phone, I like walk over there. I'm like, where did he go? Like
yes. Or Gordo's like, what are you doing? Why'd you get
fucking
up?
camera shy. Oh my god.
Oh,
God damn it, Gordo. Get it together. We
he's
love
being
you.
so cute right now. He's going, because I'm petting his nose.
Oh my
So
god.
he's got his mouth open. He's showing me the tiny little teeth in between his fangs.
Can't you wait?
He's so cute.
Well, guys, I think we bombarded you with enough dragons, possibly for today. But if you would like
Yeah.
more dragon information, possibly pop on over to our Patreon, Castles and
Yes.
Cryptids.
Yes, please do.
And
It'll be a lot of fun.
we've got some interesting videos up there from our recent Reddit
Yeah.
drama excursions and posts. And then we'll be adding our dragon drama.
Yeah.
So that's where it's at. But until next time, you can like us, give us a review on Spotify, and until next time, keep it cryptic.
Yeah, bye. This has been Castles and Cryptids. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Anchor, Breaker, Pocket Cast, and our YouTube channel. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Reddit. On our website, you can listen to all of our episodes as well as view pictures for each of our segments. Check out our Patreon page to view all of our tiers and become a Patreon supporter today to unlock monthly bonus episodes and behind-the-scenes content. We are working on an Ask Us Anything. You can submit questions by social media or by email at castlesandcryptids@gmail.com. Do you have a spooky ghost story, a creepy cryptid sighting, or a thrilling true crime tale you would like to share and have us include in a future episode? Send us your listener story by social media or by email. Please include the name that you would like mentioned. Our music is by Kobe Fair. Our logo and artwork is by Antonio Garcia. Thanks for listening. Darkcast Network. Out of the shadows comes the best of indie podcasts.